You have studied the narcissist. You have learned the terminology, the gaslighting, the love bombing, the devaluation, the discard. You understand on a psychological level the mechanics of their abuse. You know about their fragile ego, their lack of empathy, their insatiable need for supply. You have armed yourself with the language of therapy and self-help, and yet, a terrifying question lingers in the deepest parts of your soul. A question you are almost too afraid to ask. Is this all there is? Is this behavior merely a product of a troubled childhood and a personality disorder? Or is what you have experienced something far older, far darker, and far more malevolent? What if the person who tormented you, who seemed to delight in your pain, who systematically dismantled your reality, was not just a broken human being? What if they were a vessel, a host, for an entity that is not human at all? What if what you have been dealing with is not just a narcissist, but a demon? This is not a question born of fantasy or religious dogma. It is a diagnosis born of spiritual reality. For some souls, the wounds of narcissism are so deep, the emptiness so vast, that they create a vacuum, an open door through which ancient predatory intelligences can enter and operate. In this critical and urgent session at the Etheric Doctor, we will cross the boundary from psychology into spiritual warfare. I will reveal the 5 terrifying signs that distinguish a common narcissist from one who is under direct demonic influence. This knowledge is not meant to create more fear, but to bring ultimate clarity, because you cannot fight an enemy you do not understand, and the enemy you have been facing may be far greater than you ever imagined. Before we descend into this dark but necessary knowledge, understand that if you are here, it is because your spirit is strong enough to handle this truth. You have survived an encounter with the abyss and you are ready to understand its nature. If you are prepared to arm yourself with the ultimate spiritual discernment, to finally give a name to the pure evil you have witnessed, and to learn the sacred protocols to sever all ties with it forever, then take a solemn moment to subscribe to the Etheric Doctor. This is not a self-help channel. This is a war council for the soldiers of light. Join our ranks and let us begin. The line between severe narcissistic personality disorder and demonic influence can be terrifyingly thin. Both are characterized by a profound lack of empathy, a love of chaos, and a parasitic need to feed on the energy of others. However, there is a fundamental difference in origin and intent. The typical narcissist is a soul trapped in a prison of ego, their actions driven by deep-seated insecurity and a desperate need for validation. Their cruelty, while devastating, is ultimately rooted in a pathetic and broken humanity. A demonically influenced narcissist is different. The human soul is still there, but it has been suppressed, sidelined, or has willingly abdicated its throne. The driver's seat is now occupied in whole or in part by a non-human consciousness, an ancient, discarnate entity whose sole purpose is to create suffering, to feed on chaos, and to invert and defile everything that is good, loving, and sacred. They are not just seeking narcissistic supply. They are harvesting spiritual energy, or loosh, for their dark masters. The abuse is not just a byproduct of their ego, it is their primary mission. The psychological framework of narcissism is simply the perfect vehicle for this entity to operate in our world undetected. Now, let us diagnose the first sign that you are dealing with this higher order of malevolence. Sign number 1, the dead eyes and the uncanny valley effect. This is a physical sign that is almost impossible to describe, but once you have seen it, you will never forget it. The eyes are the windows to the soul. In a normal human being, even a cruel one, you can see flickers of emotion, pain, insecurity, even fleeting moments of guilt. But when you are in the presence of a demonically influenced narcissist, there will be moments when you look into their eyes and see nothing, absolutely nothing. It is a flat, black, predatory emptiness. It is a void. They may be smiling, they may be saying, "I love you," but the eyes are completely disconnected from the performance. They are the eyes of a shark, cold, lifeless, and assessing you not as a person, but as a resource. This is often accompanied by the uncanny valley effect. The person's facial expressions will seem slightly off, like a poorly rendered computer animation. The smile doesn't quite reach the dead eyes. The laugh sounds hollow and manufactured. There is a subtle but deeply unsettling feeling that you are interacting with something that is merely imitating a human, not actually being one. This happens because the demonic entity is wearing the human body like a suit. It can mimic human emotions, but it cannot genuinely feel them. What you are witnessing in those moments is the mask slipping. You are catching a glimpse of the cold, non-human consciousness that is pulling the strings. Your primitive reptilian brain recognizes this instantly as not human and triggers a profound sense of revulsion and fear. Do not dismiss this feeling. It is your soul's predator detection system screaming a warning. When you see the dead eyes, you are not looking at a person. You are looking at the abyss, and the abyss is looking back at you. Sign number 2. An obsessive and perverse delight in your suffering. A typical narcissist enjoys the power they get from controlling and devaluing you. They enjoy winning an argument and feeling superior, but their focus is ultimately on themselves and the supply they are getting. A demonically influenced narcissist is different. Their focus is not just on their own aggrandizement, it is on the exquisite detail of your pain. They take a deep, profound, and perverse pleasure in your suffering itself. This is not just schadenfreude. This is a form of energetic feeding. When you are in a state of deep emotional pain, grief, despair, heartbreak, you emit a powerful, low-frequency energy. For these entities, this energy is a gourmet meal. You will notice that they are at their most energized, their most charismatic, even their most alive when you are at your absolute lowest. They will orchestrate situations specifically designed to cause you maximum pain, and then they will sit back and watch the show with a terrifying hidden glee. They will comfort you with one arm, while subtly twisting the knife with the other. They will be the shoulder you cry on after causing the very wound you are crying about. They have an almost supernatural ability to pinpoint your deepest insecurities, your most painful traumas, and your greatest fears, and then craft situations and words to trigger them with surgical precision. This is not human cruelty. This is the work of a master spiritual sadist. A human abuser wants to break your will. A demonic abuser wants to break your soul because a broken soul releases the most potent energy. If you have ever felt that your partner or family member seem to feed off your tears and thrive on your despair, you are not being metaphorical. You are witnessing a literal act of spiritual vampirism. Sign number 3. The inversion and mockery of everything sacred. A key mission of these demonic entities is to defile and invert all that is holy, pure, and sacred. A demonically influenced narcissist will have a deep-seated, often obsessive contempt for genuine goodness and spirituality. This is a critical diagnostic sign. A simple atheistic narcissist might be indifferent or dismissive of religion, but a demonically influenced one will be actively hostile and blasphemous. They will mock your faith. They will sneer at your compassion, calling it weakness. They will perform their most cruel acts on religious holidays, like Christmas or Easter, as a deliberate act of spiritual desecration. They will twist sacred texts and spiritual concepts to justify their abuse, a phenomenon known as spiritual abuse. They might say things like, "The Bible says you must forgive, so you have to forgive me," or, "If you were truly spiritual, you wouldn't be so sensitive." They take the language of light and use it as a weapon of darkness. They also have a pathological hatred for genuine innocence and purity, often targeting children or animals with a special kind of covert cruelty. They are repulsed by authentic joy, unconditional love, and acts of selfless kindness. These things are like sunlight to a vampire. They are painful because they are a reminder of the divine light they have completely disconnected from. Their entire existence is a reverse Midas touch. Everything beautiful they touch, they seek to corrupt. If the person in your life seems to have a specific, venomous agenda against your faith, your goodness, and all things sacred, you are not dealing with a simple skeptic. You are dealing with an agent of inversion, whose mission is to prove that love is a lie and that darkness is the only true power. Sign number 4. Supernatural manifestations and an aura of unspeakable dread. When you are in a long-term relationship with a demonically influenced narcissist, the veil between worlds begins to thin around them. Their presence is a constant invitation for other low astral phenomena. This is where the signs move from psychological to overtly paranormal. You might begin to experience things in the home that you cannot explain. Objects might move on their own or disappear and reappear in strange places. You might hear unexplained noises, whispers, footsteps, knocking, especially after a major argument. More significantly, you will feel their energetic presence even when they are not physically there. You might be home alone and suddenly feel a cold chill and an overwhelming sense of being watched, only to receive a text from them a moment later. They have the ability to project their consciousness, to energetically check in on you, and maintain their control from a distance. Many victims report experiencing more intense paranormal activity and nightmares when the narcissist is away on a trip, as if the entity is bored and is amusing itself by terrorizing them directly. The most powerful sign in this category, however, is the aura of pure, unspeakable dread that surrounds them, particularly during their rages. It is more than just fear of their anger. It is a primal, soul-level terror. The temperature in the room will literally drop. The air will feel thick and electric. You will feel a malevolent intelligence focusing on you that is far older and more powerful than the human being in front of you. You are not seeing a person having a tantrum. You are seeing a demon looking out through a human mask. This is the moment the veil is completely torn, and you are given a direct glimpse of the true nature of the entity you are dealing with. Sign number 5. They induce a state of soul sickness in you. A long-term relationship with a typical narcissist can cause depression, anxiety, and PTSD. A long-term relationship with a demonically influenced narcissist causes what can only be described as soul sickness. This goes beyond psychology. It is a deep existential decay of your spirit. You will feel a profound sense of disconnection from God, from the universe, from your own soul. Your desire to pray or meditate will vanish. Your creativity will dry up. Your hope for the future will be extinguished. You will feel as if your very light is being snuffed out, leaving you in a gray, hopeless void. This is the ultimate goal of the demonic entity. It seeks to sever your connection to the divine so that you become a permanent and compliant source of energy, an empty shell just like the host it occupies. Many victims in this state develop mysterious chronic illnesses that doctors cannot diagnose. This is the soul sickness manifesting in the physical body. The body is giving up because the spirit has been drained of its will to live. This is the most dangerous stage. This is not something you can think your way out of. It is a state of profound spiritual affliction that requires an equally profound spiritual intervention. If you look at yourself and no longer recognize the vibrant, hopeful person you once were, if you feel a deep, soul-level exhaustion and a complete disconnection from all that is good and sacred, you have reached the final and most undeniable sign. You have not just been psychologically abused, you have been spiritually consumed. Recognizing these signs is a terrifying but liberating act. You are finally giving a true name to the evil you have faced. You are no longer grappling with a mere personality disorder. You are standing at the threshold of a spiritual war, and now you will be given the weapons to fight it. The protocol for dealing with a demonically influenced narcissist is not one of therapy or communication. It is one of exorcism, not the dramatic type seen in movies, but a personal, powerful exorcism of their influence from your life, your home, and your soul. Step 1. The severing. No contact. For a typical narcissist, low contact can sometimes be managed. For a demonic one, the only solution is absolute, unequivocal, permanent, no contact. You must treat them as a spiritual contagion. Block their number, block their social media, delete every photo, erase every message. Any link, no matter how small, is a potential channel through which the entity can continue to send its tendrils of influence. This is not a breakup. This is an amputation to save your life. Step 2. The consecration of your home. Your home has been contaminated by their energy. You must perform a deep spiritual cleansing. Open all the windows. Burn sage or palo santo in every single corner of every room, commanding any and all entities and their residual energy to leave in the name of God and the divine light. Then, perform the saltwater cleansing on every mirror, as we have discussed in a previous session. Finally, anoint every door and window frame with holy water or anointing oil, declaring, "Only beings of pure light and love may enter this sacred space." Step 3. The soul retrieval prayer. You must call your power back. Sit in a quiet space, light a white candle, and place your hands over your heart. Say this prayer aloud with all the power and intention you can muster. By the authority of my own divine soul and in the name of the highest good, I call back to me all of my power, all of my light, all of my essence that has been taken, given away, or stolen. I sever every cord, every attachment, and every contract, known and unknown, across all timelines and dimensions, with the entity influencing name of narcissist. I reclaim my sovereignty. I reclaim my peace. I reclaim my soul. I am whole. I am free. It is done. Visualize golden fragments of yourself returning to you from the ether, reintegrating into your heart and making you whole and radiant once more. This is your path to freedom. It is not easy, but it is necessary. You have looked into the eyes of pure evil and you have survived. This experience was not meant to destroy you. It was a baptism by hellfire, designed to force you to recognize the immense power of your own light. You have learned a lesson that few souls will ever have to comprehend. You now know the face of your true enemy, and in that knowledge, you have been given the keys to your ultimate liberation and your highest calling as a warrior of light.